So this is the second card rundown, or I guess this is technically a bracket reveal, but anyway, second one in a row, that I've had to start with some form of the entire face of UWA Elite Pro Wrestling has changed. Now last month I talked about the change in ownership, UWA being pulled back from the brink. And this month, well, here we go again. UWA Elite fans, I am the man of 1,000 spreadsheets, MC Hale, and this is the bracket reveal for our week, August 4th through 10th at the Middlesex County Fair, and of course Saturday, August 9th at 8 p.m. we will feature UWA Elite Crossroads. Now tickets for all UWA Elite events during Fair Week are included with your fair admission, and yes, that means Crossroads too. So come out to the East Brunswick Fairgrounds at 655 Cranbury Road. Monday through Friday you can catch us at 6 p.m., 7:30 p.m., and 9 p.m. Saturday and Sunday we've got events all day, including Crossroads at 8 on Saturday. Don't forget about that one. And why is Crossroads so important to us here at UWA? Well, not only are we always happy to see the UWA Elite Army away from our home base, but we get to return to what is effectively the birthplace of professional wrestling, the County Fair. And not only do we honor the past of professional wrestling as a whole, but we honor part of our own past in UWA Elite as well. Now during the week, Monday to Thursday, leading up to the semifinals and finals at Crossroads, we will be conducting the first round of the DynaMike Davis Memorial Tournament, named after UWA Elite wrestler DynaMike Davis, tragically taken from his family, both immediate and extended, far before his time. And so this tournament holds a special place in the hearts of many of our roster members. It's brought out a softer side in some of our more prolific rule breakers in the past, and it's also shown that a few of our more referee-friendly wrestlers may be willing to go a bit further outside of those rules to be the last man standing. But before we reveal the 16 entrants competing for the title of DynaMike Davis Tournament Champion and to claim the #1 contender spot for the UWA Elite Championship in the process, let's talk about what we know for sure will be happening this Saturday, August 9th, at Crossroads. In the opening segment for this video, I alluded to the fact of UWA Elite changing. Well, at our main event at Livin' on the Edge, it was full of surprises and changes, and not the good kind. Deep into the match, BT Bull attempted to interfere by handing Eric Corvus brass knuckles. Adams was able to dodge and lock in the no-leaf clover, but a possibly unconscious, we'll get to that in a second, possibly unconscious referee Ryan T couldn't see Corvus tapping out. A mystery figure in a mask stormed the ring to lay out Adams with the knuckles, and yet the champ still kicked out. Adams caught the mat mechanic, but right as Ryan T's hand was about to hit the mat for 3, he instead flipped off the champ, opening the door for Corvus to hit the brass knuckles, the zero machine, and get the 3 count from UWA Elite senior official, fan favorite, and practically a living children's show mascot. Seriously, I can't stress enough just how fan-friendly this guy was. Referee, referee probably doesn't apply anymore. Ryan T. Or to be more correct, newly minted member of the contingent, Ryan T. And oh, who was underneath that mask? Well, having lost his bid to keep Mike Seaway in the old guard and having the faction dissolved as a result, we saw stuntman Christopher Powers revealed as the man who started the dominoes falling in the match that brought the UWA Elite Championship to the now 4-man roster of the contingent. Now, needless to say, Joey Adams was devastated, and not just physically. Of course, there was no love lost between Adams and Powers. Their feud goes back quite a bit longer than just last month. But Ryan T? Well, taking absolutely no time to heal his wounds, including a vicious gash on the right side of his neck from a Corvus boot, Adams will be wrestling during Fair Week. And as a matter of fact, he is immediately invoking his championship rematch clause, demanding a return match with the new UWA Elite champion, Eric Corvus, at Crossroads. Now, if Eric can bring weapons, can bring Bull, a masked Chris Powers, and even buy off the referee, then what can Adams possibly do to retaliate? Well, we'll find out on Saturday, because in our Crossroads co-main event, the UWA Elite Championship title belt will be on the line when the champ, mat mechanic Eric Corvus, defends against Joey Adams in a no-holds-barred, all weapons are legal, county fair street fight. Well, there's only one other match that we can say is officially on the card for Crossroads, and even that's only halfway booked. Let me explain. The team of KTB and Robbie Roller, alongside advisor, UWA Elite Hall of Famer, and supplier of folding chairs, our broadcast partner Cypress, they are the Do or Die Posse, the UWA Elite Tag Team Champions. And they have a bit of a dilemma, although from their point of view, it's a good problem to have. In one way or another, most of the tag teams in UWA have already fallen to roller and KTB. Most of them helped along with tactics that can't be found in any pro wrestling rulebook, including using chairs as both distractions and weapons last month against Corey Dillinger and Matt Vertigo's Diligent Enterprise. So who gets to challenge for the titles at Crossroads? Well, the Do or Die Posse is so confident in their recent success that they are content to wait and see how the first round of the DynaMike Davis Tournament shakes out before deciding who gets that match. Now, this strategy could prove beneficial to the tag champs, but it does have the potential to backfire. You see, waiting to see who of their potential opponents is in the worst shape and selecting based on that is certainly a solid plan. But not knowing who your opponents are until you're practically in the ring with them, there's not going to be nearly as much time to prepare as there usually would be. But then again, with how commentary gets set up at the fair, Cypress will be even closer to ringside than usual at Crossroads, which will have any opposing team looking over their shoulders. And we've seen the KTB and Robbie Roller only need the smallest of opportunities to put away some of the biggest names on the UWA Elite roster. The Tag Team Championships will be defended at Crossroads, and we'll see who will take on the team of the Hunter and the King of the Barons, the Do or Die Posse, this Saturday night at the Middlesex County Fair. On to the featured attraction of Fair Week for us here at UWA Elite, the DynaMike Davis Memorial Tournament. Now, as I said at the beginning of this bracket reveal, this is a special event on our calendar as we honor our past, as well as seeing a few faces who may just be the future of the company. A 16-man tournament with 8 first-round matches, single elimination style, being held from Monday through Thursday. The 4 matches of the semifinals and the 4-way elimination match final will be held at Crossroads, 8 p.m. Saturday night. The winner of the tournament not only gets the trophy and belt for the tournament victory itself, but also the right to challenge as the #1 contender for the UWA Elite Championship in September at iWrestle. And I remind you again, admission to Crossroads, as well as all of the UWA Elite action of the week, is all included with your fair admission. And so, going down the bracket, we have Eddie Thomas versus Ryan T. Our first announced match pits UWA Elite I-Champion Explosive Eddie Thomas against one of the newest members of the contingent, All That Ryan T. Can Ryan channel the frustration he expressed at being viewed by the fans and roster as nothing more than a clown? Will he call on his new partners for outside help? Or will the ring rust be a deciding factor against the evolving offense of resurging fan favorite Explosive Eddie Thomas? Flash Carter versus King Tech. One half of the shot callers, Flash has been focusing more on tag team wrestling of late than singles competition. But you know Flash will bring his A game against one of the most devious cerebral members of the roster in the Red Lion. A fast match favors Flash, a slow one, King Tech. But who will be able to impose their will on the other? Now I'm going to group these next two together because the combination is notable. Almost as notable as 2 of the rather surprising names that appear. BT Bull versus Nick Kay? Chris Powers versus Ty Thomas? Well, first we can talk about BT Bull and Chris Powers, one established and one newly revealed as members of the contingent. And a not insignificant detail here is the contingent not only having 3 of their 4 members in the tournament, but last year's tournament winner Chris Powers was one of the additions to their faction. But wait, how are Nick Kay and Ty Thomas in this tournament when their contracts are controlled by the contingent? Well, we heard from the gambler Ty Thomas, and it seems buried pages deep in the contract that Nick Kay himself had drawn up. All additional members of the contingent must be unanimously approved by the existing members. And since Ty and Nick were still technically members, and they were obviously not consulted, any contractual obligation they had to the contingent is now dissolved. That makes them free to sign match contracts of their own, including being entered into the DynaMike Davis Tournament. Now, Sean Damage McNellis against Michael Massacre. 2 surprisingly similar wrestlers when you're talking about in-ring style and technique. Both skilled technically, both very capable of playing the mind games. And both recently focused on identity and legacy, with Day 1 UWA Elite veteran and 2-time tournament champion Damage going toe-to-toe with the LA-based member of the Wynant family, Jim Logan, and Michael Massacre striking out on his own, looking to establish his own legacy, one that he feels is long overdue. And finally, another grouping of matches: Corey Dillinger versus Ethan Promise, Miles Penn versus Mike Seaway, and Ryan Rise versus Matt Vertigo. Now here we have the 3 members of the Lost Boys, the 2 members of Diligent Enterprise, and the lone wolf recently freed from the old guard, Mike Seaway. The strategizing between the Lost Boys as well as Diligent Enterprise must be fascinating. Shared strategy to try and not only face your opponent one-on-one, but also helping your partner advance, and maybe even having someone watch your back along the way. But keep an eye on Mike Seaway. He won it in 2020 and is the only one of these 6 who has to worry only about himself. And as a former tag partner of DynaMike Davis, he always leaves it all in the ring for this tournament. So those are the first round matchups. But let's take just a quick moment to look ahead. Maybe not predictions, but possibilities. Take a look at that bracket and you'll see some of the same potential that I do for round 2. Now starting from the top, could Eddie Thomas and Flash Carter have their friendship tested? A former referee against one of the biggest rule breakers in the company. In the second grouping, could we see 2 members of the contingent face off? What about the 2 former members? In World Cup analysis, you often hear about the group of death, a combination of teams that are particularly difficult to challenge against. And in this tournament, that's the group of 4 who will compete for that 3rd spot in the finals: Damage, Massacre, Dillinger, and Promise. No matter who goes to the final, they've got perhaps the toughest road to get there. And finally, Penn and Rise of the Lost Boys have had some conflicts lately, especially with 3rd member Ethan Promise, but seem to be getting on the same, albeit more concerning page. But getting through Seaway and Vertigo? And if they do, could we see 2 Lost Boys in the finals? 2 contingent representatives, the entirety of Diligent Enterprise. It's a 16-man tournament, but only one will be the 2025 DynaMike Davis Memorial Crossroads Tournament winner, earning themselves a UWA Elite Champion shop at iWrestle against the champion, the winner of Eric Corvus versus Joey Adams. And don't forget, the Do or Die posse will be ready to pick up the pieces of whatever tag team dares to face them for the tag titles. We've got a full week of UWA Elite action coming your way at the Middlesex County Fair starting this Monday at 6 p.m. Remember, 6, 7:30, and 9 are the times Monday through Friday, and we will feature the tournament first round at those times. We've got showcases all day Saturday as well, leading up to 8 p.m. and Crossroads, featuring the semifinals and finals of the DynaMike Davis Tournament. Sunday, we see the aftermath of Crossroads and look forward to iWrestle in September, Brawl for It All in October, and our season finale, Last Breath, in November. Now make sure you are following us on all social media for updates, match reveals, and analysis, and get ready to greet the UWA Elite Superstars all this week. Until then, this is the man of 1,000 spreadsheets, MC Hale, saying we will see you at ringside.